Megan Laurence and Lucas Haneman. They're two of the members from the Lucas Haneman Express,
Oh,
which, if you've never heard of the band, they've been around for quite some time. First album was, what, 10 years ago?
Oh,
mm,
I wish.
8 years ago or so, yeah.
It was 2015, so almost 8 years ago.
And now with this brand new album that you guys brought out, it's amazing because there's a big jump between the last album and this one. Could you tell us a bit about how you came about to actually create this album, this beautiful gem?
Oh, thank you so much. Well, the pandemic helped actually because it gave me a lot of time to do some writing and some thinking about what direction we wanted to take the band in. Right before the pandemic, we ended up getting a new drummer in the band named Val Nigavara. He's from Ukraine, and he just moved to Canada a few years ago. And his playing really changed the sound of the band first and foremost. So he has a more kind of modern sound than the sound we had before, and I wanted to write material kind of around that sound. And also, the other thing that was happening was that people were coming up to us at live shows, always saying, because Megan sings so beautifully at live shows, and she's always sang a lot at the live gigs, especially more so in the last the last few years. So people were always saying that we'd love the albums to be more like the live show. So I was writing the album around two things. It was really around Val's playing, and then having Megan be showcased as she really deserved to be on the album, on half the album. So I think that dynamic really changed the sound of the band.
There was a refreshing influence hearing Megan doing her part in the album because I was accustomed to the all Lucas showcase from previous albums, but this one actually had a better feel. There was more of a solid composition in regards to having someone dedicated to singing. Now, Megan, do you do anything else currently other than singing? Do you play instruments? I know you co-write the music or change the lyrics depending on as well.
You don't want me to play any other instruments. That would probably scare everybody away. I did study them. I studied piano and did all the things that little children do when they're growing up and their parents are trying to encourage them musically. And then finally I just went, I think the voice is where I'm good, and I'm just going to stay this way and then just become really, really good at it. And so that was my focus.
Now, Lucas, you play the lead guitar, if I'm not incorrect. You can correct me at any point in time. You also sing, and I think some of the songs were duets between you and Megan.
Yeah, like about half of the album, I'm singing. Well, let's see here, 3 or 4 songs I sing lead vocals, and then there's a couple of duets, and then some Megan features on the album. So we really tried to split it evenly. But yeah, I play guitar and I sing, and our bassist Martin also sings backup vocals as well.
Okay. So. And the drummer just drums, I'm assuming.
He actually did some amazing backup vocals on the song Cabin Fever. He sings really well. He just doesn't like to admit it. But he's great though. He's actually a really good singer.
Cabin Fever is one of them that actually probably was influenced by the pandemic, if I'm not mistaken.
Absolutely, yeah, that's correct for sure. Yeah, a lot of the songs but I really tried to keep it positive when I was writing all the lyrics for the songs, because there actually were some beautiful things about the pandemic for us. Our daughter was really young when the pandemic started. She was about two years old.
Almost 2.
Almost 2. And so it was actually a beautiful way for us to be able to spend a lot of time with her during that time of her life. So that was pretty cool. And, we were lucky, Megan and I were lucky, because we kept working through the pandemic. We kept teaching, like I teach guitar, Megan teaches vocals. And then we did, because we had a good setup here, we did quite a few virtual shows, gigs, from our basement here. And that kept us busy and employed and still being musicians full time, which was pretty awesome. So I was inspired by a lot of the positivity. Of course, there's, a lot of crazy stuff that's been going on in the world since then as well. But I was trying to keep it optimistic on the album for sure.
Okay. During the pandemic, have you dabbled in other musical instruments, or did you just stick to what you know very well?
No. Every song on the album I did a demo for, where I recorded bass, drums, guitar, all the vocals for here, and then I sent that to the band. So I was definitely working on my drumming, on my bass playing through the pandemic as well. And then also I was working on working with recording software and getting comfortable with that side of things as well. So I'd say that like the kind of the home studio as an instrument too was something I was kind of working on. Yeah.
Well, the pandemic was a positive push for you, anyways, due to the fact that you were cloistered for close to 3 years. Eventually, we'll see you in the Maritimes
Oh,
for
that is
one of
our
the
hope.
shows. When you're sitting down with bandmates, I'm assuming that based on what I've seen in the past with a lot of the interviews I've done, a lot of the bands during COVID were doing digital transfers of files so that their bandmates could do the recording and then send them the results, and then somebody else would do the mixing, the producing, and then final copy. Was that your responsibility as well for both of you, or was it somebody else?
We were lucky because of the fact that by the time it came to record the album, we were out of restrictions. And so we could actually all meet together. And so we have a home studio, as Lucas was mentioning, that we kind of honed during the pandemic and got the right equipment. And so once he had done all the demos and sent them out, they just came here and went into the soundproof room, and the three of them laid down everything while I sat out here hitting buttons. And then once it was done, we would go in. Lucas would do his extra dubs of the guitar. I would do the vocals. He would do the vocals. And then we would go meet with Dean Watson, who was the guy we had for our mixer. And he actually did the first 2 albums for The Express. And it was nice because he's the type of mixer that, like, you need something, oh, here, take this equipment, here's how it works, take it home with you. You need this microphone, here you go, take it, go do this. Like, he's not one of those people who's like, oh, well, here it is, and it's going to cost you this much to have it for a week. And no, he wants to encourage people to get out and record and do stuff. And so it was nice energy to be back around again for the 4th album.
Yeah, Dean's amazing.
Yeah.
You're a family now because you have a daughter. How do you think this is going to impact your touring abilities?
You know what? We're pretty lucky. She's a great little girl and she rolls with the punches. Like, before the pandemic, we were down in New Orleans and we were at the Memphis IBCs, and she was touring with us, and she made her debut this past weekend on the Blues Fest stage here in Ottawa with a bunch of other children. And she's good. She just goes with it. So we never really think about, oh, well, having a kid now is going to hold us back a little bit. It's not that case. And we have such a great community around us that we built with her aunts and her uncles and her grandparents, of course, that, when we have flight dates and we have to leave, she's in good hands. She's got a great place to go. If they need to keep her for a week or 2, they're totally fine with it. And she rolls with it, and she does FaceTime, and she understands. So pretty lucky.
Both of you are human beings.
Last time I looked, yes.
I think so, yeah.
But the fact of that being said is because you're more than just musicians. You're family, and you have your own inner needs. So 2 questions that I asked of pretty much everyone that I've done the interviews with. First off is, what do you do for hobby?
Oh man, we don't have a lot of time for hobbies.
When I have the time, I like to knit.
Yeah.
So I guess that would be kind of a cool little hobby. And I love cooking. Cooking and baking are my favorite thing to do. So those would be the three.
Yeah. I'm getting back into cooking now. I've gotten into just doing stuff with my daughter when I have time off. With her daughter, I've really got into making some pretty wicked 3D Lego statues and things like that. But I'm kind of a boring person because I'm just so addicted to music that I don't take much time to do other things.
I wouldn't say you're boring.
Well,
No one I've met is boring. The second question to end the interview is simply, what is your favorite dish for both of you? So I'll start with Megan first.
Oh, that is so hard. I'm like trying to. There's so many things that I love to cook. Drunken mussels are one of my favorite things to make, just because of the fact that it sounds really cool and people think that it's really fancy if you make it. So that was kind of a favorite go-to meal.
For me, I can't make it, but I'm a huge fan of Indian food. So
okay.
I love like lamb vindaloo and as spicy as possible.
The hotter the better. That's true.
I'm into that. I guess that could be one of my hobbies is hot sauce. Like I'm kind of a hot sauce collector.
That is true.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I love I love hot sauce. Like when I was a kid, we had a girl from Mexico living with my family. She came to Ottawa to study English, and she used to make these stuffed jalapeno peppers. And my brother and I were like 3 years old, so we'd always eat these stuffed peppers, and they were so spicy that my parents just couldn't take it. But because we were so young and so impressionable, we loved it. Just like couldn't get enough of it. And both my brother and I love spicy food now.
Look at you both.
Yeah, we can't get enough of it. So I think it's like sometimes if you start at a young age, right?
So that's the whole interview in one nutshell. The fact that your album is out and available pretty much anywhere. If you want to give me a reminder of the title.
It's called Painting Stars by the LH Express.
Yeah,
and you can get it on any platform, but we recommend going to lhexpress.ca and buying it directly from us, either the download or the actual copy. And then please, fall asleep to us on Spotify, any of your streaming services, to get us a bump so that people know who we are.
Yeah, we've been really lucky. I mean, the album debuted at #1 in Canada on the Roots music charts, and it's thanks to people like you who are playing it, so it really means a lot.
Ever think about doing a vinyl, or is that something that you weren't thinking of?
Yeah, we're thinking about it. Not necessarily for this album, because this one's already out, but Megan and I are starting to work on an acoustic duo album as well.
Ooh.
And that one, I mean, I can just hear it already on vinyl. So so here's hoping we can figure that out.
I think both of you are going to make a cool album with it.
Thank you.
This is Megan and Lucas, the big core of the Lucas or the LH Express as they are known.
Yeah, so, our new name.
Yeah.